Welcome to the AER channel. In this section, we are going to be putting everything together and modeling a game's controller, something like you might see on an Xbox or a PlayStation. First, we are going to make the main chip, then we are going to split it into two, and we are going to develop those two halves, and then add a PCB. So let's get started with brand new part. First, we are just going to model up half of the control shape, and then we are going to mirror over to the other side because it's symmetrical. Let's start off by making a sketch on the top plane and get a center rectangle. And draw a center rectangle somewhere here. So it's not at the origin, but it's horizontally in line with origin. So the center of it is in line with the origin, and then this right hand line is fixed onto the origin. So it's coincident with the origin. And then synthesize as 60 by 60 millimeters. That should fully define our sketch. And we can now do a mid-plane extrude. Let's go mid-plane 40 millimeters. And press OK. So we've just got a single block that's going to make it the center of the controller. And the whole shape will become more obvious as we go through the next few videos. For now, I'm just going to rename this something like center block. And then I'm going to save the part, something like Game Controller 2022. Next, we are going to make a loft on the left hand side for the hand grip. And to create this, we are going to use three profiles. The first one, I'm going to start on the back of the rectangle. So I'm going to spin the block around. I'm going to select this back face and start a sketch there. And then I'm going to go normal 2. When you press normal 2, you probably need to press a few times, so we want the origin to be on the right hand side of the model, like this. Then we'll get the ellipse tool, and we'll start to draw the first profile. Let's just draw an ellipse somewhere in this area out here, and try not to pick up any automatic relations. First up, let's add a center line along the large axis. This will just help our line up the ellipse, and help us dimension it. And then we can start to set some dimensions. So this long axis, the major axis, is 60 millimeters long, and make sure you get the full length and not that horizontal distance. And then the minor axis, the smaller one, is 45 millimeters. And then that center line that we added is 20 degrees from the horizontal. So click on the line, also click on the horizontal bottom of the block, and then make that 20 degrees. So we've added a few dimensions there, but the part still isn't fixed in space. If we grab it, we can still move it around. To lock it in position, we are going to anchor it to that block. So firstly, I'm going to select this top left corner of the block, and then I'm also going to select the top of the ellipse somewhere. And then I'm going to make those coincident, so it will move the ellipse onto that corner. And then next, we are also going to select the bottom corner, and we are going to select the ellipse, and we are going to do the same thing, make those coincident as well. And it should move the ellipse down, and it should fix it in place. So now that should be fully defined. And we've got our first profile for the loft there. So we can exit that sketch. The next profile is also an ellipse. It's going to be on the front face here. So start sketch on that face. Go normal 2, get the elliptical tool, and let's draw another ellipse somewhere down here. So again, try not to pick up any of those automatic relations. And for this one, we'll add the center line along the middle as well. And then we can start to set some dimensions. So this one is going to be 85 long. Again, make sure you get the full length of the line and not the horizontal length. So if you do accidentally pick up that horizontal one, just delete it. And then re-add the correct length. So it should be 85. And then the angle of that center line is 35 from the horizontal. And then we are also going to lock it in place in a similar way. So I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to select the top corner of that block. You might need to zoom in a little bit more so you can get it. And then I'm also going to select the top of the new ellipse, and I'm going to make those coincident. And then I'm going to do the same with the bottom. So again, you might need to zoom in, select the bottom corner of the block, then also also select somewhere on the perimeter of the ellipse at the bottom and make those coincident. So now we are still not quite fully defined because we haven't set the minor diameter. So what we are going to do is just grab this top point, this top minor diameter point, and then just drag it down and bring it to the first ellipse. So just drag it down so it's on top of that first ellipse, and you should get that coincident symbol. And then when you release, that new ellipse should be fully defined. So we can exit that sketch, and now we've got two profiles. To recap this video, we started a new part and we just drew a center rectangle. We extruded this midplane to make the center block of the controller. Then we started to draw the profiles for a loft. So there were 3 profiles. They were all lofts. One was on the back of the block, one was on the front, and then one was on the plane that was set it in front of those 2 first ones. And then we chained this all using a loft. In the next video, we are going to continue on with this. We'll add some cat curves and some fillets to make the shape a bit better. And then we'll mirror the body over to the other side. I hope it helps a little and is useful.